up in the walkway, and we're going to go from here up there. And before we go, I want to introduce Bill's sisters, his nieces, and one grandniece. This is Susie. She's a loner here today. Okay? Welcome. Thank you. This is Patty, and her daughter is Stacy right here. And Stacy's daughter, Bill's grandniece, is Kayla. Okay?
Welcome. Yeah.
Kaylee, I'm sorry. And this is Peggy and her daughter, Annie. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Feel you? This is good. Okay. Because your back is to it, but it says remembering Bill Irvine. It says artist, teacher, lover. What are we going to do for fun today? Because that's what he would ask me in the morning. What are we going to do for fun today? So he loved it so much here in San Miguel because we really retired and there was nothing we had to do. So of course you got to figure out something, and it might just well be fun, right? So the artist, he created life continuously. Thank you, honey. Just set it on the seat there, thank you. And many things he did before I even knew him. Oh, jeez. All right. When he was 16 years old, he had a business and he painted houses. He had employees, okay? They were building a subdivision, and he went up to them and he says, "Can I paint that house for you?" And these guys said, "Well, we can try it out." So he painted that house, and then as they built other houses in the subdivision, he just went and painted every house. So when he was in college, he worked at a bakery, and he started out sweeping floors, and he ended up being the cake decorators for weddings. All right. Took him a little while, but he at one point he had a antique store. He learned how to make kitchen cabinets and worked out of the back of his car, the trunk of his car, when he first started. And from there he went to building a boat in Fort Townsend, Washington. And he was going to sail away, but that didn't happen because his wife, she left and went to heaven also. So when I met him, he was making custom-made kitchens, and he was always, if he saw something, he was so creative. If he saw something that he might like to try, he would try it. He would become obsessed by it, but he would do a very good job, no matter what it was. And he saw bonsai. Somebody threw out Smithsonian's at the dump, and everybody in Fort Townsend was great for recycling, and he found one and picked it up and brought it home, and it was about bonsai. So I made the mistake of buying him a tree and a dish and a few tools for his birthday, And in a couple of years, we had a bonsai nursery. And he was so good at it because his background was botany. As far as a lover, I'm not going to say no. But first of all, he was a lover of life. And he accepted everybody. He had great tolerance, and he was always learning more ways to be compassionate. You know, and if something got him upset, he'd say, "Why am I doing this? Why am I going here?" And he'd work on it very quietly within himself. And pretty soon he'd say, "You know, that doesn't bother me anymore." And mostly that was Mr. T and things that were going on in America. So, yeah. So he's just been in everybody's heart here, and you know how much love he had. So the little thing of what are we going to do for fun today? We would get up in the morning, we'd make our coffee. I mean, we were real creatures of habit. Sit in bed, read, and drink our coffee. And when there was no more coffee left, you got to get up, right? So he would look over at me and he'd say, "Sweets, what are we going to do for fun today?" And that could be anything. And sometimes it was a walk, sometimes we went to get coffee. Maybe we'd plan a trip, go out for breakfast, sitting in the Jardines, walking. A lot of walking in our life. Bill and I walked on the Camino, and when we first met each other, we would walk down to the Straits of Juan de Fuca along the beach to the park. They had an old park, the one where they made the movie The Officer and Gentleman, all very, very Victorian there, and then back through town and start our day. So we were walking on the Camino and walking here. A lot of walking, this way and get the people. But kind of risque, some of them. But this is one that he and I both liked. It was really sweet. And this is it. It's a Sufi poem by Rafiz, R-A-F-I-Z. I caught the happy virus last night when I was out singing beneath the moon. It is remarkably contagious, so kiss me. We like that one. So if you ever get a chance to read love poems, the Sufi love poems to God, they're a hoot. At the end, when he knew that things were going to go in a direction that would be hard for him, we kept hoping for a miracle, and then we realized at some point that the miracle was that he was going to pass over, transcend. We just knew it wasn't going to be anything else but that. And he said to me, "How come I didn't tell more people more often that I loved them?" So he acted on that, and all the telephone conversation after that blended with, "I love you," to everybody. He would say it. And if he didn't say it to you personal, it's just because he didn't meet you on the street or whatever. He wasn't going out anymore. But he really started to, and this is very typical of Bill, when he realized that something was needed, he put it into his life and he lived it. Okay? So the key to a really great life is to accept what is happening, and the key is happiness and joy. So I have a picture of him cutting a cake, and on the cake it says, "Happy, happy, joy, joy." I don't remember what it was for, but I guess we were having a good time. I'm going to ask my friend Jean. Jean's husband transitioned about 1.5 years ago, and he and Bill were very much alike. Okay? And she's going to read The Messenger.
The Messenger. And this is Mary Oliver. My work is loving the world. Here the sunflowers, there the hummingbird, equal seekers of sweetness. Here the quickening yeast, there the blue plums. Here the clam deep in the speckled sand. Are my boots old? Is my coat torn? Am I no longer young and still not half perfect? Let me keep my mind on what matters, which is my work, which is mostly standing still and learning to be astonished. The phoebe, the delphinium, the sheep in the pasture, and the pasture. which is mostly rejoicing, since all ingredients are here, which is gratitude, to be given a mind and a heart and these body clothes, a mouth with which we give shouts of joy to the moth and the wren, to the sleepy dug-up clam, telling them all over and over how it is that we live forever.
You're going to sing your song now, La Vida?
Gracias a la vida.
Gracias a la vida.
And Raj has the translation for it, but since we're in Mexico, this is one of the seminal songs in Latin America. And it's a song of gratitude to life. And I'm sure some of you already know it who live here. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado sus ceros, que cuando los abro, perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco, y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado, y en la multitud es el hombre. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido y el abecedario. Con estas palabras que pienso y declaro, madre, amigo, hermanos y luz alumbrado, la ruta del alma del que estoy amando. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la risa y me ha dado el llanto, así yo distingo dicha de quebranto, los dos materiales que forman mi canto, y el canto de ustedes el que es mismo canto, y el canto de todos que es mi propio canto.
Thank you. Okay. So, I wanted to tell you what I'm learning through my grieving, how I'm moving it, and what I'm learning, mostly what I'm learning, because I have a ways to go. So I went through some things a couple weeks ago, and I found this card. These are the kind of cards Bill would give me. There's nothing inside except he writes in them, okay? Most often, he chose to write something to me instead of sending me a card that somebody else wrote the words for. So, it says, and this is very important, and it'll make maybe more sense when I show you the picture. I celebrate with you on your rebirth date. I honor the path you are on, and the changes that result don't affect my love for you. Be strong in knowing who you are, and be unafraid to present yourself to the world as who you are. I'm honored to share my life with you. Love, Bill. So, I have a picture here. It's also on the picture down there. I've had this for quite a few years, and maybe it's hard for you to see, but it shows a person down here, and then it shows this line of light up into this being up here. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, this is where Bill is right now. Okay, this is my belief. So, I just happened to find something on the computer speaking to that. And some of you might know Esther Hicks, and her husband's name was Jerry. And they went around teaching people how to stay in their center, and they would say, to stay in the vortex, the energy that will take you through life the way you want to live your life, okay? And she was having a really hard time when he left. He had brain cancer, and he left. And she said, you know, I wasn't done with you yet. You know, why did you leave? And I know that one because I've gone through the saying of almost the same thing to Bill, you know. So he talked to her finally, and he said, well, as people on the planet, you are orientated towards feeling lack and loneliness in the human place, okay? You're wanting to acknowledge the loss and the separation. It's just how it is, okay? And in this day and age on the planet, we have a lot of that going on. It's just so profoundly in your face. And he says, you know, there is no death, there's just transition, and I believe that. He said, it's just moving from the physical to the non-physical. And he says, he was telling her what it's like. He said, I have reemerged with a knowing that I am an eternal being. I have rendezvoused what really is in complete satisfaction of everything. And my want for you is to feel that also. Okay? So, he said, when you're feeling separated and that there's a loss, you have to practice thinking and turning your thoughts, because there is no separation, all right? And he said, if you look for me where I am not in the physical, he is not there anymore, okay? And that's where all the triggers come in, because all of a sudden you realize you're eating Thanksgiving dinner all by yourself, you know, at a restaurant, or music, or I'm thinking when he comes downstairs, I want to remember to tell him what I did today. No, that's not going to happen. Okay. And so he says, don't look for me where I am not, where I was. He said, look for him where he is. And I believe this is where he is. Okay. So he says, if you stay with that and practice that, you will be in the leading edge of non-resistance. And I think I'd like a life like that, where I don't no resistance to what's coming to me. And some of it might look like, do I really want that? But then that's where I have to decide if I'm going to go that way or not. And if I choose what's right for me, I'm going to have that energy coming with me. And Bill's going to be at the head of the wave. So that's where I'm working on going. And I'll tell you what, it ain't easy. I want to drink, salute to a life well lived in beauty and grace. And one of the reasons I wanted amazing grace was because during the long, slow crawl, we felt ourselves in a bubble of light, like a snow globe, you know, when you tip it upside down. And I said to him one day, I said, I can just feel us, how we are surrounded by love and grace. And he said, yes, we are. And so we lived in grace. He flew away in grace, and he will continue to grace our life in many, many ways. To Bill. To Bill. So anybody has anything they want to say? Anybody want to say anything about how upset they were to have to make beads with him all?
I want to say that Bill is still teaching me. I'm receiving lessons, you know, multitudes of lessons today.
Okay.
So thanks, Bill.
Yes. Okay, so here.
Bill, I want to thank you for taking someone who couldn't draw a straight line with a ruler and teaching him how to make beads.
Here, here.
He got me into a place in my life where I figured out, hey, I actually could do something that I never thought I could do. And he was such a good teacher and such a good person that to this day, I look at the bags of beads that I have and think, okay, Bill, this next bracelet, this next necklace, this next piece that I'm going to put together is for you.
And it's true about both of you, Bill and Raj, is your honesty and your authenticity and your willingness to talk about topics that no one else want to go to. And the last time I saw both of you before Bill died was in August, and we had a meal together. And I was so moved by the hard questions that we talked about. And I just appreciate you both. Yes.
I couldn't believe it. Bill was such a beautiful person inside of him. That I learned from him, and that's what I want to say.
He was great when you were learning something. That patience was just there.
One day we needed to put a divider up to divide more space, and Bill built the whole thing with the walls and the door and everything. Well, since then we've lost our studio, but we have a new one, and we're taking what Bill built and we're putting it up as the divider in the new studio. And we're going to dedicate it to Bill.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.